A Dimethyltryptamine/DMT Guide, The Spirit Molecule. Chapter 1. Dimethyltryptamine/DMT, Ayahuasca. Dimethyltryptamine/DMT Guide. DMT or N-dimethyltryptamine is a small molecule that exists naturally throughout the plant and animal kingdoms. Some scientists believe that DMT is created in the human pineal gland, where it causes mystical/spiritual states of consciousness, near-death experiences, dreams, alien abduction experiences, etc. Some people believe when the soul enters our bodies at day 49 in the fetus, it is accompanied by a flood of DMT. Later on in life, whenever we have deep mystical experiences, they are accompanied by the release of DMT in the pineal gland. As we die, a flood of DMT accompanies the soul leaving the body. N-dimethyltryptamine/DMT is a short-acting psychedelic entheogen that produces some of the most powerful visions possible in the human mind. DMT exists naturally in people and plants. It is created in the body from serotonin. It affects receptor sites for serotonin much like LSD, psilocybin, and mescaline do. These serotonin receptors are everywhere in the body, like the blood vessels, muscle, glands, and skin. Some people with chemistry knowledge can create DMT synthetically. Most people get it from plants. Journals like the Psychedelic Monographs and Essays and the Hyperspace Lexicon Project gather and analyze stories about DMT experiences. DMT is synthesized quickly if you take it orally. You can prolong the effect with an MAO inhibitor like harmine. DMT is an agonist of serotonin 5-HT2A, 5-HT2C and 5-HT1A. DMT is created naturally in the human body every day. It is released in massive quantities at birth and death in the pineal gland, supposedly when the soul enters the body at day 49 and at death when the soul departs to the next dimension. Dimethyltryptamine, DMT, is a psychedelic substance found in mushrooms and other plants. It is also manufactured synthetically from tryptamine and methyl iodide. People smoke it, chew it, eat it, and inject it intramuscularly and intravenously. The most common form is ayahuasca. The high usually lasts under an hour because substances in the body break it down quickly. People claim to see other entities like God, Satan, spirits in the plants, extraterrestrials and other spirits. A variation of DMT is 5-MeO-DMT. The seeds of coaba, the ground beans of the Piptodenia peregrina, contain DMT. When the South American shamans use ayahuasca, they have the sense to give you the DMT then another substance that is an MAO inhibitor so that the DMT has enough time to give you psychedelic effects. When you produce it in your body, it breaks down right away. That's why you hardly ever get high through natural means. If you type the term "how to make DMT" into a search engine, you usually get a complicated chemical explanation. At dmtnexus.me, they give you a list of plants with DMT in them. DMT produces short-acting effects when smoked. Many people forget what happened very quickly, like you forget a dream. DMT is in the South American brew called ayahuasca. You can go on ayahuasca vision quests for a fee. You can see ayahuasca videos on YouTube. Natural creation of DMT. All substances are part of my own consciousness. This consciousness is vacuous, unborn, and unceasing. Thus meditating, allow the mind to rest in the uncreated state. Like the pouring of water into water, the mind should be allowed its own easy mental posture in its natural, unmodified condition, clear and vibrant. Leary, Metzner, Albert, The Psychedelic Experience. Some people say that meditating and chanting causes vibrations that naturally release DMT in the body. They say certain meditation-type music helps with this too. Meditation affects pineal activity, creating DMT and serotonin release. You can use electric, magnetic, or sound waves to create higher moods and the release of DMT in the pineal gland. DMT is produced during meditation and intense physical and sexual exertion. Meditation generates brain waves that stimulate the pineal gland, which produces DMT. There are certain frequencies of sound that work best to activate the pineal gland. There are many free pineal gland activation music or sound videos on YouTube. Dark room technique to increase DMT production. Mantak Chia created a dark room technology, which is to sit in a dark room so that your pineal gland produces melatonin, serotonin, and natural DMT called endohuasca. Isolated from external light, the third eye produces certain neurotransmitters that awaken the higher brain. Closing your eyes stops light from entering the pineal gland. Melatonin production increases. It's good to close your eyes and meditate on loving, happy things. Absolute darkness helps the pineal gland produce the most hormones which help you think higher thoughts. To achieve this, people have used flotation tanks, sensory deprivation chambers, caves, tunnels, catacombs, teepees and sweat lodges. The darkness helps with natural DMT production and focuses your mind. Dark room, DR, technology has someone sit in a dark room and do things like meditate, chant, drum or hum, all to achieve higher states. Robert Newman in Calm Healing, 2006 talks about the Bardo retreat as meditation practiced in utter darkness. People do this for over a month sometimes. The Bardo retreat is named after the Buddhist idea of the Bardo of luminosity. Mantak Chia is a Taoist master in Thailand who says sound and light isolation leads to darkroom enlightenment. He takes people to do this for a week at a time to shock the pineal to stimulate production of natural DMT in great amounts. The neurotransmitter 5-MeO-DMT is normally only active in fetuses and immediately after death, but it is reactivated in the darkroom. Chia said, there is now enough monoamine oxidase inhibition triggered by the pinoline, to allow the pineal gland's serotonin to melatonin cycle to be intercepted by adrenaline and ephedrine activity and converted into a serotonin, DMT pathway. When DMT levels reach more than 25 mg, one's experience can become very visual. DMT is the visual third eye neurotransmitter. It enables the energy body and spirit to journey into hyperspace, beyond third-dimensional realms of time and space. Pinoline is a substance made in the pineal gland from 5-HT. It is thought to be the neurochemical trigger for dreaming. If you don't get enough sleep, you dream while awake. Meditation in the dark is good. DMT one-liners. Vaporization is different from smoking. When you smoke DMT, often with cannabis, you subject it to a high temperature immediately, which can ruin the potency. With a vaporizer machine or gadget, the DMT is heated slowly at an even temperature. You don't waste any. The fumes are better. The DMT evaporates and you inhale it rather than smoke it. Smoking leads to breakdown of the DMT plus adding impurities from the fire starter. Vaporizers and vaporizer pipes are sold at head shops. DMT only works orally if taken with an MAO inhibitor/MAOI. You can drink it straight, drink it in juice, or swallow it raw or in a capsule. Some people snort it up the nose. DMT seems to connect users with some types of gods and spiritual beings in another dimension. Neurotheology, a term coined by Aldous Huxley in the novel Island, is a field of study that tries to explain all otherworldly type experiences to biological processes in the brain. DMT is created from serotonin. Like serotonin, it has an uplifting effect on mood. All weird, transcendent experiences supposedly occur in the pineal gland. This doesn't prove or disprove the biological or spiritual theory of an afterlife, otherworldly experience. Many people who have otherworldly experiences have very similar ones. Does this prove that they are all accessing the same external otherworld, or is it just that the biology produces these same experiences? I wish I knew for sure what the truth is. The lungs continuously produce DMT. It seems like the brain requires DMT to operate normally. Dr. Robert Strassman said, I was always interested in the pineal gland as a possible spiritual organ, as it were. It's always been an object of veneration in esoteric physiological systems, the anatomical location of high spiritual centers in Buddhism and Judaism. The truth is that we don't know for sure whether DMT is made in the pineal gland. There are studies suggesting that psychotic people have higher amounts of DMT in their urine than normal people, suggesting that DMT helps you think in technicolor. Stephen Barker at Louisiana State University studied altered states of consciousness and DMT. Once you get beyond the physical, nobody has the smoking gun answer about spiritual experiences. Are they real or just a product of something in our brains? DMT is natural in the body. To get higher levels of DMT in the brain in order to get high, it has to cross the blood-brain barrier. If you take too much, you feel sick. The brain quickly metabolizes any DMT that enters into it, so at the most, you can only get high for about an hour, but the experience is so intense that some people say it's like living 1,000 lifetimes or 1,000 years in a few minutes. It's a feeling of spiritual insight seemingly beyond words. Hindus say it's the third eye chakra opening up. Some people say that when we make the pineal gland vibrate through either using DMT, meditating, starving ourselves, sensory deprivation or some other method, this vibration causes our mystical experiences. This is the traditional opening or activation of the third eye. Some people think the pineal gland was once a real third physical eye that retreated into the brain during evolution to become a spiritual center of wisdom. The pineal gland is visible in the human fetus at 49 days, which is the length of time the Tibetan Book of the Dead says that a soul exists in the bardo after death before it enters another body. Many people claim to enter a new world of otherworldly souls while on DMT. Many have vision quests about their purpose in life. Some people speculate that our collective memory as the human race is stored in our DNA. The evidence is in the memories organ transplant and blood transfusion patients have that they think come from the donated body parts and blood. When you're on DMT, they say these memories open up. Read stories at DMT websites. People say they contact their primordial intelligence. It changes them for life. DMT has been described as the key to the greatest, most marvelous secrets of life. DMT is illegal in most of the world. DMT is structurally similar to melatonin. Both are made from serotonin. DMT structurally resembles LSD and psilocybin. Changa is a smokable/vaporizable form of DMT deposited on plant material that contains MAOIs. When Dr. Rick Strassman did his studies, he found that when people get just enough, not too much or too little, they get profound visions about their life purpose. It's as though one had been struck by noetic lightning. The ordinary world is almost instantaneously replaced, not only with a hallucination, but a hallucination whose alien character is its utter alienness. Nothing in this world can prepare one for the impressions that fill your mind when you enter the DMT sensorium. Terence McKenna. People often smoke it with marijuana because DMT by itself tastes bad. It is injected by people who can get the synthetic version. People drink ayahuasca. Licking toads is dangerous because they are poisonous. When people do ayahuasca, the shamans put an antidote in it to the poisonous substances. See spike.com/videos/retoad/3312528. DMT is used to help drug addicts quit drugs. The reasoning is that the DMT experience is so powerful spiritually that other drugs pale in comparison, so people stop using them. People can get paranoid while on DMT. DMT is a spiritual drug for enlightenment, to contemplate your life so far and to discover your life purpose. DMT is in many strands of the acacia plant and reed plants. Dr. Robert Strassman thinks that the bulk of DMT is created in the pineal gland, which is supposedly why we have crazy dreams when we sleep. The Egyptians and other cultures linked DMT and the pineal gland as the place where the soul travels to the ether world. The United States made DMT illegal in 1971 as a Schedule I drug. During REM, rapid eye movement, sleep, DMT is released into the bloodstream. DMT is similar to serotonin and targets the same receptors. They say that the difference between dreams and DMT visions is simply the stage of consciousness or sleep you're in. DMT links body and spirit. Pineal activation awakens inactive latent neural pathways. Many DMT trips have the user connect with a loving God who tells him or her to go back and fulfill your purpose to help the world. Meditation can achieve this too. Natural hallucinogens in the body belong to the tryptamine or beta-carboline family of compounds. You can reach altered states by relaxing enough and being creative. Sometimes intense physical activity, fasting or other deprivations can get you there. When I swim non-stop for a while, I get a pretty high feeling. Serotonin, melatonin, and tryptamine levels are higher in the pineal gland than in any other part of the body. The two extremes of human experience, deep relaxation and intense stress or exertion, can release these hormones. Terence McKenna and others have said that while they were high on DMT, they communicated with beings who gave them knowledge and wisdom that didn't come from these people's past experience of life. It happened to me too. The montage of human history I saw showing me man's inhumanity to man didn't come from my own mind. I still think that today that I had either a supernatural encounter or I opened up something hidden in my DNA. The Church of Santo Daime and União de Vegetal, UDV, use ayahuasca in their sermons to try to get to a visionary state. When using ayahuasca, you take the first drink to release the DMT, then take the second drink to inhibit the MAOA, which would otherwise break down the DMT quickly and you wouldn't get high. Phalaris grass contains 5-MeO-DMT. People use Syrian rue as in Maui. In the Arab world, the ancients used DMT plants they called homa or soma. Our entire DNA is in every cell. We could have memories of past generations stored in there that come out when using DMT. Dr. Rick Strassman did DMT studies. Dr. Rick Strassman was a biopsychiatry professor at the University of New Mexico. Being a biology guy, his business was to use biology to explain everything, so he was the first guy as far as I know to formally suggest that the pineal gland creates DMT from serotonin and synthesizes it through his book DMT, The Spirit Molecule, but others have suggested it too, like Andrew Vay and Terence McKenna. In his book, he talks about how hard it was to get approval to do DMT studies on volunteers subjects in the early 1990s. Then he did the study, which ended in 1995. The book was published in 2001. He injected volunteer subjects with different doses of DMT. At small doses, people felt relaxed. At just the right dose, they felt spiritual and mystical, like they were out of their body. At doses that were too high, they just felt tired, confused and sick. The conclusion is that the right dose of DMT creates some kind of mystical experience within some people. Dr. Strassman is a science guy. The most he can say is that DMT causes some spiritual, mystical experiences in people. The question is whether this experience is just a biological reaction to DMT, or is the DMT the catalyst for an entry into another dimension of reality that most humans know nothing about. In his radio interviews for his book, some of which are at YouTube, he made two basic points. A certain part of the brain, probably the pineal gland, creates spiritual mystical sensations within people. When people ingest DMT, some of them feel mystical experiences. He talked a bit about the spiritual realm beyond that, but he's a scientist within the mainstream academic system. He can't speculate about non-scientific ideas without getting scorned or otherwise into some kind of trouble. At the end of 2-hour interview on the Laura Lee Show, the only thing he really said was that mystical experiences are the result of DMT produced in the pineal gland. The process of synthesis creates hallucinations and delusions of mystical spiritual type experiences. Strassman published his book in 2001, which said that there is a place in the brain that is associated with mystical experiences, which to some New Agey type people was a big step for the scientific community to recognize the possibility of other realms. Strassman said that people seem to live pretty normal lives without a pineal gland, like if they're removed because of brain cancer, so it's wise not to get too carried with all this pineal gland soulgate hype. Pineal gland is the entryway to a hidden dimension. Nobody really knows whether DMT opens up some real dimension that we go into when we ingest it. Is there something hidden in our biology, cells, and DNA that gets opened up under certain conditions? I watch hundreds of near-death experience videos on YouTube to see the amazing commonalities of them among many different people. There was one case of a woman with an NDE who was told her son would soon die, which he did after she returned. A little boy met his dead sister, who he knew nothing about before his NDE, but later learned that his mother miscarried a baby girl. I believe in a supernatural realm because I've seen so many people from all over the world talk about very similar near-death experiences. They all could not have been parrots who copied each other because they were from such different backgrounds and their accounts were so spontaneous and sincere. I'm looking for something deeper and profound in life. When I look at all the pine cones Buddhists, Egyptians, and the Sumerians are wearing on their heads which represent the pineal gland, I think that there has to be something going on if all these ancient cultures held the pineal gland in such high esteem. If you look at the pine cone statue in the Vatican, you realize something weird is going on, this green pine cone with an Egyptian sarcophagus and 2 peacocks near it. I think there could be some kind of supernatural connection housed in the pineal gland that goes beyond biology that our creators put into us when they created us. Biology cannot explain a lot of what's going on, plus there is a lot of unexplained stuff that happened in our origins with ancient astronauts, gods, the Anunnaki, visitors from Sirius, etc. that have me believing that there are weird, possibly supernatural secrets about the human entity that nobody has discovered yet. DMT, the Spirit Molecule Documentary. Dr. Rick Strassman wrote the book DMT, the Spirit Molecule Documentary that was published in 2001. The documentary, hosted by Joe Rogan, came out in October 2011 at the Austin Film Festival. It is free on YouTube. Several people talk about their experiences while in Strassman DMT study. Dr. Strassman and a few other scientists talk about biology and hallucination experiences. I think the most profound experience was when the guy came out of the DMT experience after it broke down in his body. He asked Dr. Strassman how long was he out. Strassman said 15 minutes. The guy said something like 1,000 years of life experience in 15 minutes. This is similar to the experiences I had when using magic mushrooms and morning glory seeds. thspiritmolecule.com. Plants containing DMT. Get a list at dmtnexus.me. Some plants that contain DMT are as follows: acacia, anadenanthera, antheria, arundo, ayahuasca, columbrina, delosperma, desmanthus, desmodium, diplopteris, eriganum, evodia, justitia, lespedesia, limona, mimosa, mucuna, osteophyllum, pandanus, petalostylis, phalaris, phragmites, psychotria, testualia, vepraris, virola, xanthoxylum. Chapter 2. Ayahuasca and other substances. Ayahuasca, the plant. Ayahuasca means vine of the souls in the Quechua language. It is popular in South America. The main ingredient is the Banisteriopsis caapi vine, but other plants are added to the mix. The active ingredient in the main ingredient is DMT. DMT is a substance related to serotonin in the brain and the substance that gives us hallucinogenic and spiritual experiences. The problem with DMT when you eat or drink it is that it breaks down in the body before it ever reaches the brain, rendering it useless to get high. The substance in the body that does this is monoamine oxidase, MAO. This is why you need an MAO inhibitor to counteract the effect of the MAOs. The ancient natives of South America somehow figured out that you need at least 2 plants to enter the spirit world, the Aya containing the DMT and another plant containing an MAO inhibitor. You have to be careful when using MAO inhibitors because MAOs act like antibodies to kill all strange chemicals, viruses, and bacteria that enter the body indiscriminately, so when you use an MAO inhibitor, you're not only allowing DMT to get through but you could also be allowing germs to get through. This is why you should avoid eating food and taking medicines for at least several hours before and after taking an MAO inhibitor. The effect of inhibiting MAOs from destroying toxins that enter your body could injure you seriously. Some plants with MAO inhibitors in them are Banisteriopsis caapi, the main ingredient of ayahuasca, passion flower, Syrian rue seeds and bark /harmaline/harmine, yahimbe, available at your local health supplement shop. An ayahuasca drink is made by combining a plant or several containing DMT with one or several containing MAO inhibitors. Boil it down like tea several times to get a relatively concentrated liquid containing the stuff, then drink it. You can eat the remaining stuff if you think you can handle the poor taste. Go to ayauasca.com, arrowwood.org, or totsi.com for info about mixing potions. Most people drink the DMT substance and MAO inhibitor together. Some people drink the DMT substance first, wait 15 minutes then drink the MAO inhibitor substance. Ayahuasca/YAG websites. ayauasca.com, ayahuasca-healing.net, ayahuasca-shamanism.co.uk, ayahuasca-wasi.com, basementsheyman.com, arrowwood.org/chemicals/ayahuasca, arrowwood.org/chemicals/ayahuasca.html, salvia-extract.net, salviazupply.com, salviaspace.com, ayahuasca.be, bufotenine info/stuff on toads to get high, bufadine/bufotenine/bufotenin, 5-hydroxy-DMT, 5-ho-dimethyltryptamine/5-o-DMT, dimethylserotonin, is a form of DMT found on the skin of Bufo alvarius toads, in mushrooms and some plants. You can buy the stuff from some places. Bufo toads live in Central and South America. You have to milk the venom by stroking its belly to get it to attack, then you gather the venom, dry it and smoke it. Licking it just makes you sick. bulletinfote9.com, arrowwood.org/archive/sonoran_desert_toad, arrowwood.org/chemicals/bulletinfotenin/bulletinfotenin.html, dextromethorphan/DXM. DXM is the stuff in most cough syrups and some cough pills. If you drink enough, you'll get high. They say it works on the brain the same way ketamine or PCP does. The effects are dissociative anesthesia, mild hallucinations, enhanced response to the environment, some nausea, and some stimulant effects. I've seen hundreds of self-reports of people talk about buying cough syrup, coricidin, contact cough caps, Drixeryl cough caps, Robitussin, Vicks 44, gel caps, etc., drinking 4 to 8 ounces then describing their high. As far as I know, you can buy contact cough caps just about everywhere except the United States. That's the purest form of DXT you can get over the counter. They're little pills with almost pure DXT in them. At the time of this writing, Robitussin Maximum Strength Cough contains DXM with nothing else except a little alcohol. Vicks has a brand like this too. Robitussin DM contains other stuff called guaifenesin, which is what could make you sick. There are two types of cough syrup with DXT in them. Those that contain guainesin. Those that contain alcohol. Look for the stuff with just the alcohol. Keep it as pure as possible. The general consensus is that some people can't stomach drinking all that cough syrup. In that case, either chase it with tea or pop, buy the cold capsules with DXT in them to avoid the cough syrup, or look for the powder online. About 1 in 10 people have an inherited deficiency in the liver enzyme which metabolizes DXT, so if that's you, you won't be able to process it and will feel sick as your body tries to reject it because it sees it as a toxin. One guy said that vitamin C helps increase the effects, so he drinks orange juice every time he gets high on DXT. You can buy pure DXT by mail order. It's much easier to use than drinking cough syrup. I read a story about some teenager who overdosed on the powder and died. It's not easy to buy the pure powder. I went to some website, said I wanted it for personal use, then they said I needed to fill it some form that I had a legitimate need for it to do a medical experiment with it, so I made up some phony experiment about seeing if rats on DXT were less alert than rats not on it, but I guess because I had already stated that I wanted it for personal use, it was in their email records, so I was out as a customer. Dextromethorphan, street names, DXM, CCC, Triple C, Skittles, Robo. DXMstories.com, arrowwood.org/DXM, dextroverse.org. arrowwood.org/chemicals/faq/dxm/general_info.html lyceum.org/drugs.old/synthetics/dxm/faq/general_info.html DMT websites. You can read stories by going to archive.org, then totsi.com, or Joe Rogan, a podcast host, has podcasts talking about DMT. doxy.org. arrowwood.org. doxy.org/dmt.hdm. Dimethyltryptamine.com. dmtnexus.me. drugfree.org/portal/drug_guide/DMT. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/dimethyltryptamine. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/DMT. arrowwood.org/chemicals/dmt/dmt.shtml. rickstrassman.com/dmt.